Representing Universe 7, the intergalactic tyrant, the Duke of Destruction, the Prince of Pain, Lord Frieza has officially returned, and he's bringing with him his very distinctive and brutal fighting style as he transforms into his glorious golden form to take on a massive army of assassins. All that and more in this week's badass episode of Dragon Ball Super. I know that a lot of people are very disappointed over the fact that Majin Buu is not going to be a member of the Universe 7 team and participate in the Tournament of Power, and I understand why they're sick of Frieza, but I'll be damned if he isn't one of the most charismatic anime villains of all time. And getting to see him return and interact with Goku in a very relaxed setting is honestly surreal and incredibly awesome. They practically have a buddy-buddy moment in this episode when they see each other again in the world of the living, where they both continuously punch each other in the stomachs. It is great. The Dragon Ball franchise is known for its incredible sweeping action scenes, but it's also known for over-the-top awesome transformation sequences, and Frieza transforming into his golden form in this episode was pitch freaking perfect. It was one of the coolest transformations that I've seen from the series, and it almost makes you wish they would have done that the first time when he transformed into his very first gold form, because Frieza is pretty much ready to kick all sorts of ass. He's been in hell for too long, he's ready to stretch his legs and his tail and destroy some would-be assassins. So the main story in this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super is that the two gods of destruction, Sidra and QUITELA, have decided to team up with one another, and they're going to send this entire army of assassins to Earth to deal with Frieza and Goku and potentially get Universe 7 out of the tournament altogether. The problem is, they're sending them after Goku and Frieza, two of the most ridiculously overpowered characters in the entire series, and now that Frieza has the power of a near god, this is just gonna be a massacre, and frankly, it's one that I can't wait to see. The preview for the next episode honestly has me very hyped. The prospect of seeing Goku and Frieza team up together and fight against a giant army of assassins, just the funness writes its friggin' self. I mean, especially because you get to see more of Frieza's distinctive fighting style, which is incredibly brutal. He wastes no time in even taking out some of these assassins in this week's episode, and this is even before his incredibly awesome transformation sequence. There's also another subplot in this episode which, while not as exciting, does lead to a really funny scene where we get 18 and 17 seeing each other, with Krillin being stuck in the middle and absorbing all of that awkwardness, because frankly, he doesn't know how to deal with either of them. Honestly, Marin's the one who gets out of this with the most smiles, and that's because she's just so frigging adorable. And hilariously enough, they're going to allow Marin to stay on the island with Trunks and Goten. I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea. According to 18, Marin is someone that you clearly don't want to mess with, and it does make sense. Her parents are two of the strongest people on the planet, but I just never expected to see Marin actually do much of anything aside from just stand around and look really cute. Also, they make it painfully clear that there are going to be poachers on the island, so there's like a 99% chance that we're going to get an episode where things are going to slow down during the tournament and we're going to see what's going on Earth as Goten, Trunks, and Marin take on some poachers. Sounds really exciting, right? It's definitely going to happen eventually, but the thing about this episode is that it's just building up to the Tournament of Power. There's barely any time left. Goku and Frieza barely have any time to get through this big battle, and I'm sure it's just going to be like a last-second entrance for Universe 7 when they actually arrive for the Tournament of Power, shocking all of the other universes. It's going to be really fun. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super? I think, like, the last 5 minutes of this episode were perfect. That's not to say the first half was bad. In fact, I actually really liked it for a number of reasons. One, I like the fact that Roshi is actually getting some friggin' character development. Who saw that coming? Years after this series started, they've actually decided to give him a little bit of a power-up. He's been doing some training at Korin's Tower, and he's even created some sort of brand new electrical technique which is going to allow him to freeze people in place. Yajirobe got to be the guinea pig for all of this, and of course we were all laughing when we saw that one. I also still love that he travels using his Gamera, which unfortunately they didn't show in full, but it's basically just a big spinning turtle that's like a mini Gamera, the giant kaiju monster from the Japanese movies. And I'm glad that they kept that alive. I also loved the confrontation between Android 17 and Piccolo. It's so incredibly tense at first, because you have to remember, First time we've seen these characters together since their incredibly epic fight in the Cell Saga, and because they're manly men and super awesome, they both decide to shake each other's hands and work together. Piccolo, you are so freaking epic. But like I said, the best thing about this week's episode have to be those last couple of minutes with the reintroduction of Frieza. I love when we go back to Fortune Teller Baba's place. It looks just the same with the big skull in the front and all of the mysterious candles. As soon as Frieza arrives, those candles just go out and suddenly you see him arrive with a halo over him. He walks right up to Goku and just punches him right in the stomach. It's such a great moment because he's such an asshole about it. He's like, oh, finger slipped, but then Goku gives him another one right back, and then suddenly that's when the assassins arrive, with Frieza immediately taking out one of them with one of his death beam techniques, and then going through this amazing transformation sequence where he goes golden, and it just rocks. I love it. I love the style. I love the sweeping camera going around him. I love getting to see him condense his body down as he actually gets more powerful. Going outside of the Earth and seeing all of the golden glow is just fantastic. It's great. It's so strange, though, seeing Frieza actually interact with Goku in a friendly manner. Even the scene where Goku's like, alright, we're gonna have to go ahead and go. I'm gonna use instant transmission, grab onto my hand. Him just asking for Frieza's hand is really freaking weird, and you can even see Frieza's a little taken aback by this as well. He looks very uncomfortable during that scene, and his overall introduction here back into the world of the living was done with a lot of gusto. Good animation, good artwork, gets me really hyped for the Tournament of Power, and I can't wait to see more of Frieza in action, and if he truly is going to be the next member of Universe 7, a lot of people have theories that somehow he's going to betray Goku, they're going to have to defeat him, and luckily Majin Buu's just going to wake up at the last minute. While I would like to see Majin Buu in the tournament, especially because I thought his battle with Basil was just fucking awesome, Frieza coming back is great because Frieza just has such a fun and crazy personality, and I just want to see his reaction to seeing all of these other strong fighters, and even more so getting to see his Universe 6 counterpart Frost. Just his reaction alone is really what I want to see. Not to mention, it's so strange that Vegeta is actually so accepting of all of this. They've turned his hatred of Frieza into something of a joke at this point, because of course, Goku and Vegeta are just so overwhelmingly powerful that if Frieza tried to overthrow them in any way, they would just completely wipe the floor with his lizard-looking ass. But Vegeta is a character who has not only had his entire race destroyed by Frieza and basically turned into his very own personal attack dog, but he was also killed by Frieza, and it's just weird for him to be so accepting of all of this. It's strange, but like I said, they actually managed to play it up for laughs. So, this was a great episode right here, in my opinion. I thought it was really classic at the end. The scene with Frieza coming back, in my opinion, is one of the greatest set pieces from Dragon Ball Super thus far. It's not the flashiest, there's not a big fight scene going on, but it reminds us of why we love these characters so much. And now that we're getting to see them in an environment that we've never seen before, honestly, I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it. I've made it very clear in the past that Frieza is my absolute favorite Dragon Ball villain, and to see him come back and team up with some of my favorite characters, I think is going to lead to some of the most unique and interesting things that we've seen from Dragon Ball Super thus far. Before we save our judgments about being pissed off that Frieza's back, let's see what the golden bastard can do. So, I loved this episode. I thought the first half was a little slow, and the whole story with Goten and Trunks and them going to the island, like, I'm not gonna lie, I just don't care about it, especially when compared to the Tournament of Power, but it was still entertaining. There were funny parts with Krillin being super awkward around 17 and everything, and all of the introduction of Frieza again at the end of the episode just... come on, you guys know that was epic. So, I'm giving this week's episode a 4 out of 5. Check it out, Dragon Ball Super fans. If any of you did watch the episode, please tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below. Are you excited for the return of Frieza? What did you think of his introduction and golden transformation in this episode? Do you think there's going to be a twist where he's not actually going to be a member of the team? Or do you really want to see them follow through and allow Frieza to participate in the Tournament of Power? What do you hope to see from said tournament? Tell me all your thoughts and what you're hyped to see in the comments section. Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things Dragon Ball Super related. Make sure to also leave me a comment telling me what you thought about the episode. Maybe there's something you want to talk with me about or other people. I'm always down for a good conversation with you guys. And of course, if you like this video, hit a key blast right down to the like button. But if you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay damn, baby.